Welcome to the House of Royale, episode number 7. Lucky 7. And you guys, you are so lucky. I am so lucky because today we have an actual real professional in the house, booking gigs on the daily, a superstar, and a real vocalist, like vocal gymnastics. Okay, so please, everyone, welcome Plasti. Woo!
Yes.
Welcome, my beautiful friend.
So happy to be here with you today.
I'm so happy to have you. I'm so proud to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes, you are such a star. I remember the first time I saw you perform, I met you online. I knew about you online, but I had never heard you sing. And I was like scouring the internet, like trying to find like live stuff of you singing. And the first time I saw you live, I look at the stage, it was like a movie, and I was like, who is this girl? And I didn't know it was you. And I was just so blown away by your voice.
Thank you. I think it was the sound check, probably. I was in the Tevin Campbell Can We Talk challenge phase.
Oh my God, with the blonde
So
wig.
I'm here. It was a fun experience, and it was full sound check. So we transform between sound check and the show.
Yeah, and then I found out that it was you, and I'm like, oh my God, this is Chloe, and just immediately wanted to be your friend. I'm like, I have to be friends with this unicorn, and we did. We became friends, and I'm so glad to have like a real girlfriend in LA. It means a lot.
Thank you, and me as well. Like our journey together has been a really important one for me because finding an ally, woman in the music industry that's experienced a lot of the same traumas that I have in terms of, abuse, certain incidents. And I think like Me Too kind of cracked the door open. But for me, in my own healing journey, it's been talking to other survivors and sharing those experiences. So I thank you for your realness and your authenticity. And you've really helped me get to this point of confidence because, you can be working and doing the thing and talking the talk and posting the posts, but, real happiness comes with community, in my opinion. So.
Right. And so let's talk about the beginning, because for you, I think for a lot of performers, that's kind of like the narrative is you just get your nose to the grindstone and you just work and you kind of like shove everything under the carpet because it's like you got to book gigs and you have to, like, you're running a race, right? And also you had not the comfort, but like your mom is a therapist.
Yeah.
Right? So you did have stability from your parents a little bit growing up.
Yeah. So, I had a wonderful childhood experience. I have a wonderful supportive family, and I know that I'm very unique in that element.
Yeah.
And honestly, the real world after I left that container was a shock. I was not prepared for the experiences that I encountered.
Yeah.
Which I learned through being and existing the hard way in a lot of cases.
Well, and nobody can save us. It's like, even if your parents are this, that, or the other, no one can save you from a man who wants to destroy your life because you're beautiful and they want to own you, and which is like, it happens so frequently. Okay, so from the beginning, how did you become a singer?
Well, I grew up in a very small town in Minnesota. I don't know if you can tell, but it was a logging town, lumberjacks. It's called Stillwater. Really beautiful, beautiful city on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota. Like about 30,000 people when I started there.
Wow.
And I just started by, I had some musical relatives. My grandma was a piano player. My uncle was a composer and pianist. He had perfect pitch. I was very inspired by those forces in my life, but really it just came along with singing along with musicals, show tunes, Disney movies, recording myself singing, everything from like Mariah Carey to Joni Mitchell, and just really diving into music at a young age. And I started working commercially, when I was around 11 years old, which led me into vocal lessons and studying theory and piano and guitar. Shout out to my first teacher, Cindy Thompson. She really ushered me into my musical identity as a kid, but just spending countless hours singing and singing. And, around, it was like I would do the talent shows, sing the national anthem for the professional sports teams. It was like a great intro into music. But what I found after working as a kid is that I didn't really have an identity. I just had a voice, an instrument. So my years from 16 to 20 were really spent finding my voice as a songwriter, finding out who I was as an artist. And really that segued into me going to Purpose Center for the Arts in Minneapolis, where like half the day was spent doing music and half the day was spent with academics. And I really found my tribe there because, as you know, I was a neurodivergent kid as well, and it was very hard for me to function in the classical school environment. Although I got high test scores, I was intelligent. I was always told that I wasn't applying myself or that I was somehow not focusing in the way that was needed. And then when
because you are an artist, you're so
right,
left brain.
yeah.
Like,
So going to
yeah.
art school, that was really where I was able to find myself as a human. But once I moved out of Minnesota, moved to Boston, went to Berklee College of Music on a scholarship, and that was like, I had accomplished what I needed to accomplish to get to that point. And going to Berklee, that's really where I cut my teeth as a vocalist and learned about composition, vocal arrangement, all of that technical stuff that kind of made me into the person that I am now.
And also the opera aspect of it. Weren't you doing opera at Berklee?
So actually before Berklee, I was doing a lot of classical competitions and contests and stuff. But Berklee was primarily jazz studies.
Jazz, okay.
And the thing about when I went to Berklee, we'll say in the 2010s,
Yeah.
essentially at that time, it was really focused on classical theory, like jazz theory, technique. How can you be the best overall chameleon to suit any musical situation, which I think left a lot of people confused when they finished the program, because what essentially was needed was music business. So, after Berklee, I was, I'm ready. I've been singing, I've been practicing. I've been performing with amazing artists. I mean, it was a great opportunity that college really introduces you to a whole network of professional musicians. But after that, it was like, I want something more. So,
Yeah, there is such a fine line between being a musician, a trained musician, and then being an artist.
yeah.
Because for
Mhm.
kids like me, like my mom had 3 dance studios and I grew up dancing, right? Like I was just a dancer. And, acting and singing was secondary. It was just something that it was an afterthought. Like, oh, well, if you audition, you should be able to do those
Mhm.
things. But
Mhm.
my mom was so against, like, she didn't know anything about the music industry. But, for me, like, when certain artists started coming out who were actually dancing,
Yeah.
obviously Britney and whatever, I was like, oh my fucking God, like, why would I want to be in the background as a tour dancer? Like, I did not, that was not, I
Well,
knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to be an artist.
yeah.
But I went through the same thing because vocally, my first album was very pop rock, and Mutt Lange is very rock, and he produced it. And vocally, that was a rock vocal.
Mhm.
Whereas, like, the Britney shit, like, all of us can do a Britney song and all of us can do a Miley Cyrus song, but it's like, who the fuck are you as an artist? And that
Exactly.
that was definitely an issue, especially with cover songs. It's like a lot of singers can sing whatever song, and it's like, okay, great, but like we're trying to see a ticket to your show. Like, what are you selling? And
Exactly.
yeah, and I think colleges, I think there are some schools that are starting to understand how to train these kids better. But if I were to go back in time, I would learn how to produce first.
Yeah. So, I mean, at Berkeley, I took some there were entry level engineering classes, and then once I got into the writing and production department, there were more extensive uh, production classes that were
Yeah.
being offered. But the music industry was really in a transitional phase at that moment. So,
Yes.
I think now what they're teaching people is more of those kinds of needed production skills than, when we were there. I mean, essentially, okay, so the first 3 years of college, I was obsessed with being a perfectionist,
Yeah.
A's. I wanted A's. I wanted to perform in the big shows, I wanted to be highlighted. I wanted to be like the scholar. And then, 3rd year, I encountered a couple of different things that really kind of set me on my path to self-discovery. Not so, I mean, my grandmother passed. I was very close with her. I had an intense breakup, somebody that I'd been with since high school, and it was like my first heartbreak experience, but it led me to this sort of self-discovery, and unfortunately, I experienced also an assault at that same time, and, I was not believed, and it really kind of shocked me to my core that, like, I could tell my story point blank to someone, and that, uh, I would need to prove it in certain ways that would not be possible, and that it would be my word against someone else's. So, at that point, that was the catalyst to me just deciding, like, I'm gonna snap. I wanna be an artist. I wanna move to Los Angeles. So I, like, scraped up all my energy. I just barely finished just because at the time, like, trying to master basic skills again through that new lens of someone who had been, like, violated in that way, it was very difficult. And, we can talk more about that, like how a lot of survivors are often not given the chance to confront the event, and they're
Also,
expected to continue on,
and
like.
what trips me the fuck out, well, it makes sense to me now that I understand the psychology behind all of us girls that grew up in
Yeah,
that era, but for me, instead of writing songs about those experiences, I went straight back to the sex shit.
right.
Like, every song was sexual, every song was a woman speaking to a man about sex, and it wasn't until recently, until honestly, like, Queen Herbie came around, where I was like, "Wow, we really need to start writing differently."
Queen Herbie,
Like, I'm mad at
very.
myself that I wasn't, like, figuring out how to write for the girls sooner.
Well, I think what like a lot of times we tell ourselves, okay, this has happened to us. We're not going to allow it to destroy our sexuality. So we take it back and almost double down
Yeah.
rather than, I mean, if that's your way that you're healing, if that's the way that you heal, more power to you. But I think a lot of times what people need is just to be heard and seen and tell their story.
Yeah.
And it was a different world in 2012. Like it wasn't the same climate that it
Well,
is
even
now.
now,
I didn't tell a soul for 12 years
yeah.
about it. So, I mean, if you are listening and you remember something, you experienced something, it's never too late to share your story with survivors. It may be like too late to do something legally, which I know that there's many organizations that are working on those caveats as we speak, but it's never too late to share the story with people.
Also telling the right people, because I have a certain family member that just recently told me, "Stop putting yourself in dangerous situations."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Do you
Yeah.
want me to change the whole world? Would you like me to make the world safer for women? Because it just is what the fuck it is." I wear a mask now when I go to CVS and Whole Foods because I just don't even want people to look at me,
You
like,
don't want
that's
to. Okay, so I was wondering if I was the only person during COVID who felt relieved that my social interactions were cut slightly short by the mask, as unpleasant as it was, because
yeah.
people with social anxiety do experience these levels of things. And so, also, when you get used to something in particular, it's hard to go back. But I understand that.
Yeah,
That
it's
shouldn't
just
be the
with
case,
men, I'm like,
though.
"Don't look at me, don't look at me." Like, I was just outside, like,
Sunglasses are a great tool, Just,
mhm.
and you,
No, I like the mask. Really, I
yeah,
see a man looking at me, and as soon as I put the mask on, he's like, "Oh, she's nuts,"
yeah.
and loses interest, and I'm like, "Oh, thank God," like,
Yeah, so yeah, okay, so redirecting in the college, the end of college, I had that experience. Didn't tell a soul for 12 years. I told myself that same story that somehow like I had gone on a date with this person, and so when I was drugged, I saw him driving by my place. I was against the car window. I tried to stop it, but told myself for almost a decade that I had somehow allowed that to happen, which, I think a lot of people just put it in those categories, and that's what allowed me to deal with it for that long. But you have to speak up and unwind the toxic patterns that come from that kind of repression. So, coming from that, like, I moved to Los Angeles, we were in the jungle era of the early 2010s, in Los Angeles, and I
Ooh.
experienced some of the same hardships that, other artists experience, which is like a couple of label deals that didn't pan out, having to like buy the rights back to my music.
Mhm.
But luckily I met some incredible mentors, really good friends, awesome communities.
So coming to
Um,
LA, how did you get to the Plasti brand? How did that all come about?
so okay, when I'd first come to LA, I was working with Barry Squire. He was getting me these great auditions. He's this really awesome person that puts together these kind of pop bands. So I had been playing a little bit with CeeLo Green, during the
Ooh,
Fuck You
yes.
era, which was definitely uh, okay. So I had been auditioning for all these jobs as a guitarist because there were so many vocalists. And I met my old manager at that time, and I actually was introduced to a really good friend and mentor of mine, Justin Tranter.
Hey, Justin. Shout
Justin,
out to
my fairy
Justin
godmothers
Tranter.
out there, they have, really helped me foster my journey. And sometimes you just meet these people in the industry. For me, it was meeting like queer people,
Yes.
just people that were different and artsy and went against the conventional mold of the pop industry at the time. Those people gave me the courage to be myself,
Mhm.
and essentially all I wanted to get away from Chloe. I wanted a new start. I wanted to be something else. So, I gathered all of my influences, meditated, lit some sage, listened to Shaka Khan. It's like those are my meditations, listened to my favorite artists, and, poof, out came my alter ego Plasti, which is a moldable, shapeable goddess 2.0 version. Everybody has a Plasti version of themselves, right?
And in the beginning, it was more like a disco vibe, right? Like,
Yeah, it started out as like disco funk and kind of has morphed into more psychedelic soul. I do a lot of solo, like live looping stuff now, whereas before I was doing primarily full band, and we could talk about necessity and solo performance, but it's kind of morphed into a few different idioms. I'm excited. We're about to enter a new era. Um,
yeah, I cannot wait to hear these new songs on the radio.
Yeah, we have like Freddie Mercury intros, with like
Wow.
80 vocal tracks where we're going full on. So I'm very excited as well. But yeah, so meeting Justin, meeting at the time we were working with Semi Precious Weapons band back in the day, and then just kind of slowly accruing different community members and people that were willing to be part of this project. It's kind of like as you know, as an artist, your project goes through different manifestations as your identity changes.
Well, all of my projects have gone through the hands of straight cis men, which has destroyed my soul.
So yeah, meeting community. Also for me, my spiritual journey, meditation, mindfulness. Sounds really trite, but just being able to organize my thoughts.
Yeah.
And then going through complex psychedelic journey, I had a lot of flashbacks of my trauma that really allowed me to deal with things, and my writing channels began to open up again after, years of feeling, like I had to appease whatever voice was in control of my project. It's like ownership comes personal pride and message, which is something that it took me, quite a while to get to, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I think I'll always have a problem with ownership and believing. And even right now, I'm kind of just like, I'm focused on this show. And I just like music is like such a
You have a strong
heartbreaker for
vision,
me.
though. You have such a strong
Well,
vision.
I
That's
just
just
want to
like,
work with female producers at this point. Like, that's it for me. It's as simple as that. Which
mhm.
was my next question is, have you ever worked with a female producer?
Yeah. I mean, I've worked with female producers here and there
Yeah.
throughout, actually like on Pink Ladies, Rise of the Pink
Yes.
Ladies, Grease. Brittany Campbell was one of the main songwriters, and she is a great producer, instrumentalist, powerhouse person.
But I mean, like, have you ever had a girl produce
Most
a song
recently,
for you
um,
personally?
y- yeah, Club Indigo,
Okay.
Sarah Badi, Club Indigo. We
Yeah.
we are putting out an EP soon, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be. We put out our last EP as well,
Yeah.
female produced. Also on Pink Ladies, Simone Torres was the primary engineer.
Yeah.
She is one of amazing vocalists, like incredible top level vocalist and just high level engineer, like the best, fastest, puts her whole body into it is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
But it's actually an embarrassing question because I shouldn't have to like search. I mean, I'm searching. I would say the amount of female producers that have worked on personal projects of mine it could be 5 to 6 people,
Yeah.
which is that's
Yeah, when I
something we
first moved
seek
to
to
LA,
change.
I didn't know any female producers at all. Like, and I like obviously Kendra did the theme song for this show and she's incredible, but I think
Yeah.
that was like the first time I had ever had a girl produce a song for me.
Yeah,
Like
well, it's like where are our trans or non-binary or female producers,
mhm.
our non-cis
Yeah.
identifying producers. I think that's like very crucial.
Yeah. And also like I have to shout out Miria Bretholtz, who is Tony Nilsson's partner, and Tony was my producer for my first album. So like eventually I met Miria, and Miria helped with the Tap Dat record, which like did very well, and thank you, Miria. But that I think Miria was the first time I had ever seen a girl like behind the computer.
It could bring a tear to your eye, I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's just I just am praying. I'm literally like I'm speaking it into the universe, you guys. Like if you're a female producer, I really want to meet you and like I will hire you.
mhm.
Please. So yeah.
Yeah, community is so important. Finding people that, you want to they inspire you, that
Yes.
like you look at them and you're like, gosh, I can't believe that I get to work with this person.
Yeah.
That's so important to your happiness. And like anyone that is just moving to LA, it can take a decade. Just keep going.
Well,
Just
and I
keep moving.
still, like I said, like almost every girl, they all have like the same story of like working with a male producer or multiple male producers and some shit goes down.
Yeah.
Always. And it's
Yeah.
like, I just want to change it.
Or something doesn't go down and then all of a sudden the plug is pulled,
Right.
which is another thing that happens too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pulling the plug now on my own people because I want to walk the walk and be like, if I'm up here on the mic shouting it to the mountaintops, like I have to like walk the walk. So
Yeah.
I'm on hiatus until some magical unicorn comes along. Yeah.
Manifest that. I know.
But you are producing a lot too.
Yes, I'm producing a lot. I work with a lot with Ableton and Logic, and
Yeah.
I recently played 4 solo sets at Lightning in a Bottle. Shout out to the
Yes.
Unicorn Palace and Mark and the Do Lab. I was booked through my friend's Damn Circus. My
Yeah.
very best friend Luna Finn
Mhm.
has put together this circus collective. They have fire spinning, they have iron jaw, they have cube, they have aerials, ground fairies. They have absolute magic.
Yeah.
But I was the opener for this circus troupe. And I had to produce all of my own stuff. I had to load all my own equipment. I had to program all the software and do all
we
of the
have photos?
effects.
Do we have photos
We
and
do.
video?
We have videos
Okay.
and photos all
Yes.
4 days. We've got, the Disco Fairy Day, we have the Dark Princess Day, and then we have the Unicorn Mermaid Puff Day.
Perfect.
So those were all amazing. That was a huge production undertaking. If you told me 10 years ago that I was going to be doing that, I would not have believed you. I was sitting there writing out music by hand, writing in physical
Wow.
notes. So, one piece of advice to all young artists is keep evolving with your industry.
Yeah, you were saying that I don't know how many songs you performed, but you were producing and mixing the background vocals and the background music, but also playing live.
Yeah.
But you did your own mix.
Yeah, I did my own mix. So I have my own outputs going to my own mixer. So I had absolute control of that, which essentially gives me control of my effects that I'm looping, my vocal stacks that I'm building, and also, the levels of the audio samples that I'm using as well.
Yeah. And you're playing guitar.
Playing guitar,
well.
playing pedals. I'm doing like solos with guitar and then looping those and building layers. It's a
Amazing.
whole thing. Gotta make up for a 5-piece band somehow energetically, right?
Okay, so personal question because I get so frustrated with social media is all about the views and the likes and the comments and like you guys, I've been lighting candles and incense and like praying to the effing numbers gods.
The algorithmic gods.
It is so frustrating. And when I see an artist like you who's like at the level of
Yeah.
all these amazing vocalists, like name any R&B singer and you're at the same level. And I'm just like, does it ever frustrate you with like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and like
Yeah.
having what is your feeling
So,
on all of that?
okay, I mean, I've come around on this issue. Once again, I think, like, for people of, you know, that grew up with the sort of background that I did, a lot of people see social media as this inconvenience. But I think I've come around to seeing it as a free promotional tool, and it's all about hacking into your fan base. Like, you have to find out who wants to support you, who who does this content appeal to? You know, how can you make it so people are waiting for your art each time you do something? And I think it's really just about dialing that in. And I've learned a lot from you and other people about what that means in terms of consistency. And I think you have to make it fun. You know, you have to be less serious about it. You know, for me, like taking it so seriously and initially when things started, I would get so wrapped up in the perfection of it all because I am definitely like a perfectionist. And
Yeah.
it's not going to be perfect. The process is an imperfect process. So
Well, I just saw Call Her Daddy the other day, Alex Cooper, and
yeah,
she was like, my phone died the other day. And she's like, I have never been more happy in my life.
it's
To just,
amazing.
yeah, like I don't
Yeah.
want to look at my phone or my computer for like 3 weeks.
Do the thing and turn it off. Yeah.
Whew,
Or like just
like,
stop interacting. It's the constant
yeah.
hounding of, you know, the energy of whatever the masses that can be crazy.
Yeah.
Even if it's
And
just like
then,
6 people who are in your orbit all the time, it
mhm.
can be.
And I say to myself, like, look at how old you are and you're trying to run a small business and you're not even doing a quarter of the work it takes to get this off the ground, but I'm already losing my mind. It's like, how do I find the balance?
The
Because
balance.
if I was paying myself $40 an hour, I'd be a fucking millionaire. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, you gotta infuse the love in it. For me, it's like picking songs that doing material that I love, you know, making sure that I make time to play with my dog in between so I don't go insane or
Yeah.
like whatever at the end of the night, like before my rehearsal, just like turn it off.
Yeah.
I have a great my husband is actually amazing. He's a very supportive person in my life. So, you know, tuning in with family or people that make you feel seen, it's like
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. I mean, having the small fan base is cool because you always know you're going to get those 10 or 15 people that are like there right away. Like,
They're your ride or dies. They're
yeah.
there. Thank God for them.
But God bless everyone's soul because
Yeah.
I know it's a struggle for a lot of us. And
Yeah.
especially when you legitimately are super talented, it's like, is everyone effing like stupid? Like, do you guys not see the greatness? Like, it trips me out the things that go viral, but it is
People
what it
like the
is.
weirdest things too. It's
Yeah.
like you sing this amazing song, but like the maybe you take your hood off halfway and the hair is stuck in between, and now everyone's copying that, but not commenting on the vocal performance. But it all gets you to the thing, right? It's the
Right.
thing that gets you to the thing. So it's like as a person, if you feel like you have an excess of something, skill, talent, try to like find a way to exploit it, you know, in a way that it'll get noticed.
I just think
I don't
that,
know.
you know what?
Like
Here's the truth, people. It costs money. And when a label signs you or when iHeartRadio or Spotify signs me for this podcast, that's when the numbers are going to go through the fucking
it costs money.
roof.
But
I
we're
mean,
all
I just think that's what it is because, like, some of my younger friends who are Gen Z, who are on TikTok every single day, like, none of them are superstars yet. And they are literally on that app.
the saturation level is wild.
Yeah.
It's very saturated. So you have to be creative,
Yeah.
clever.
hmm Okay, so let's talk about Rise of the Pink Ladies.
Yes.
It's on Paramount Plus, you guys. Everyone needs to go watch that.
Please. Yes.
Chloe is literally the magic behind the vocalists.
Well, I would say that I was very fortunate to be brought on to the project by Justin Tranter, who's the musical director and supervisor.
Yes, and the
Um,
songs that Justin
yeah, it
and what's her
was
name?
Justin, Brittany Campbell,
And
and
Brittany.
then Brandon Colbean,
Mhm.
and then a group of facet songwriters. They all just contributed their magic to these projects. But it's
Yeah.
like, you have a hard thing, a legacy project
Mhm.
in 2023. And Annabelle Oakes did a really amazing job. It's like socially conscious. It has a very thick plot, incredible music and dancing. Jamal Sims, the choreography is just stunning.
Shout out to Jamal Sims.
Yeah. So, and some amazing acting, vocal, and dancing talents. It's very hard to cast people to have these three skills.
Mhm.
For me, not the strongest dancer, right? Like, I think that there's a lot of, a lot of pressure on all of the actors. They were working with such adversity it was all during COVID,
Mhm.
filming everything in Vancouver. It was just, there was so
Who
much
did
going
I got to
on.
meet Trisha,
Got to
right?
meet Nancy, our fashion icon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Trisha even, like, I was taking a photo of you guys, and she was just, like, pointed her foot like dancer, like, the
Oh my gosh,
immediate.
the subtleties that they conveyed, the
Mhm.
different characters and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so you take the regular plot of Grease, like initially there was a lot of problematic stuff, and we have a prequel now which kind of like sets the scene for that era, but in such a new way. I mean, it's super diverse
Yeah,
cast, like,
because the cast, it's LGBTQ, and the girls have a different narrative.
yep.
Like, it just the whole storyline is way different than, like, Danny being a straight cis male and taking over the
Yeah, and Sandy
the
getting a
school.
makeover. No,
Yeah.
no one's conforming themselves to fit the needs of
A man.
testosterone driven cis male,
Yeah.
like. So, I mean, I don't
The
want to divulge
songs,
too
I
many
mean,
spoilers, but it is the plot, especially like, you get to like episode 3 and it's like you're literally glued to the
mhm,
screen
mhm,
trying to
yeah.
figure out what's going to happen next.
I just wanna say to the songwriters, Justin and the whole songwriting group, the songs are just incredible, and I cried. Obviously, I mean, I know that they know how good they are,
They
but
put these vocal performances of their
mm,
lives. The cast works so hard. I was doing vocal boot camps. Everybody's also at a different place, different vocal tones.
yes, so for
Um,
those of you guys who don't understand what a vocal director is, Chloe was literally working with each actor or actress
it's like
one-on-one,
coaching, yeah.
coaching
Yeah.
to get them vocally ready to record these songs.
Yeah.
Which is, like, such hard work. Like, I've only done 2 vocal lessons with you. I mean, I've done vocal lessons, obviously, in my life, but you have to mentally be ready for that work. It is a
Yeah.
lot
And
of
they
work.
were, I mean, they went the distance. I just was like sh- completely shocked by how fully into the opportunity everybody really threw themselves. I mean, there
Yeah,
was not a single person where I was like having to everybody was so ready to
yeah.
make amazing art, and
Yeah,
the
you were
dedication like really I think showed with the final products as well.
right, right.
Yeah,
Whereas, like, sometimes you can get diva actors who don't give a shit, and it's, like,
that's true.
scary because it's
We've all worked with that where like you have someone who has is famous or has a name,
mhm,
and they don't want to put in the work, or maybe they don't have time, or it was misbooked, or like communicated with the management, who knows, but
yeah.
this
But
was
your students were sending you videos going, "Is this good? Am I doing it?"
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I was just lucky to work with them. They were all awesome talent, and just being on that production was such a exhilarating experience. Just because the magic was being made daily, you were literally witnessing it, in
yeah.
action, which was yeah, it was super exhilarating for me as a musical fan too. I'm a music nerd,
Yes.
musical nerd. I love harmony. I love intervals. I love written music. I love just
Yeah.
the nerdiness of the melodies. And it's dense. There's a lot of, for the music theory nerds, there's a lot there too.
Yes, which is why it's the perfect job for you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's
Yes.
talk about the stunning and amazing, immaculate Billy Porter.
Ah,
So, oh wow, another time. I think I cry every time I see you perform, obviously. But you performed with Billy so many songs. So many songs.
Yeah, we did the Spirit Day concert, and then I recently did Corden with Billy, and Billy has just put out his new album and just finished a tour with his band, and that was like, an incredible experience to see. He was bringing people up from the audience. Billy like really just shares his light with the people he sings with, and
He
has
does.
an undeniable, incredible gift, and
Yeah.
also just like the incredible history of Billy as a talent is so impressive. Everything from the Tonys, Kinky Boots to all of it.
Pose.
Yeah, the kids know Pray Tell.
Pray Tell.
But yeah, just being able to breathe the same air as Billy is always a pleasure. So
Yeah, seeing you on stage with him and just like slaying these songs together.
the
like,
choreography, like he hits choreography, like during sound check. It's like the dedication for every artist that's wondering is kind of unparalleled.
and the wardrobe.
Yeah, the commitment to everything. People should strive for that.
Yes, exactly.
That's like kind of what I noticed about artists on that level is their commitment to their own artistry and personality and just authenticity within that world is unparalleled. I mean, like I also sing with Jake Wesley Rogers from time to time.
Yes, Jake is amazing.
Another
and you
generation
guys-
of like kind of that like similar convictional spirit where like Jake is so self-assured. I mean, when I was 25, I don't even know, just being able to be that sure of yourself and like understand your internal compass that much. Plus, he's such a creative. He's literally just like a vortex of creativity and thoughts and poetry and ideas and philosophies and like
Yeah.
it's like beyond being a talent or having the right songs or the right management. It's like being an enigma.
You performed on Good Morning America with Jake Wesley Rogers.
Yeah, that was so it was kind of last minute because he had filmed the performance with his band the day before, and I think his wardrobe was not accepted by Good Morning America. It was this amazing, like these amazing like suspenders. That's when I came in, and as a session musician, I'm often called the day of to do some like what seems like an insurmountable task. So for me, like that, my heart was going. I love like on the fly stuff, exhilarating, fun.
It sounded amazing. It sounded incredible, and we'll definitely put a link for that video below so you guys can watch that.
Yeah, and stream Jake's music too. He's a whole entire mood.
Yeah, they're calling him like the young Elton John.
Or like, he's like a Stevie Nicks. He's like a witch of the ages.
Yeah.
Someone who brings in like the magic,
Yeah.
just the full magic of the feminine ancestry.
Yes, just true artistry. True artistry.
Mhm.
Okay, so Billy and Jake and Rise of the Pink Ladies. And then let's talk about your new music that's coming out. You played me a song in the car. I forget what it's called.
Yes, my song.
Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, Night Vision is going to come out in June. We haven't
Night
selected a date
Vision.
yet, but so Night Vision's going to come out, and then
Cool.
I have a couple other songs which are going to be an EP soon, and it's going to be very moody.
Yeah.
Lots of vocals.
Well, when
so
I heard
full.
Night Vision, I was like, oh my God. Like,
Yes.
it's a hit. It's a hit
Yep.
record.
It is. She's
Yeah.
a hit.
So I just hope that like Katy Perry or Madonna signs Plasti because I
Yeah.
think that would be really great.
And no shade to independent artists too.
Yes.
We just need financing and backing and creative love.
Yeah, shout out to angel investors who are not men that want to have sex with us.
Yeah, who want to break the mold.
Yes. That's the Cardsy B deck. Is there anything else that you want to shout out? Any musicians or advice?
Yeah, I mean, just shouting out all the amazing people that I met at Lightning in a Bottle this weekend.
Yes.
Through the Unicorn Palace. I really enjoyed that experience. People, feeling empowered to be themselves. I think like as far as advice for young artists, you can do it all. Just do it one thing at a time. You can be the DIY queen. You can shoot your own videos. You can record your own songs. You can learn how to produce. It's not too late. Just take it one step at a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen. It's not too late. It's not
Yeah.
too late. Okay, let's read our future for the week. We love Cardsy B.
Yes.
I'm reading her book right now. and it should be a movie. She used to be like she was in the fashion industry, and she was like the vice president for Playboy fashion, like for all their photo shoots and stuff, like international, and then had like a dark night of the soul and like left. And now she's like this huge big time spiritual speaker and
Gotta get into it. The
yeah.
spiritual journey is everything.
So let's see who we
I love the
choose.
unknown factors, you know. Manifesting. You gotta cater to the muse too, right?
You have
gotta
to be
cater.
happy. You have to like be honest with
Yeah.
yourself. Like, am I miserable or do I want to do something else?
To me, like spiritual health equals creative health, you know, and whatever that means. Like, I'm not preaching any specific philosophy, but like for me, it was really just like diving into energies and,
Always, it's nonstop.
you know, a little astrology, you know, just trying to figure out what fits for me.
Yeah, I
Spirituality.
love the magicalness
Meditation.
of this world, like tarot and like candles and manifesting our dreams, like with incantations or like just all of those little magical witchy things that help us feel lighter and more free and like
I think they all lead to alignment.
yeah.
Essentially, you find out like what forces you cater to that lead to your alignment, you know, and I'm all about that lightness.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna do our magical sound effect.
Okay. Do I turn it over?
Yeah. Oh,
We have the Eight of Swords. I've learned that the swords are not bad, I think.
I got the High Priestess.
Oh, I always get that card.
I feel like that's more my card, and this
That's
should have
my
been yours.
card.
Yeah.
I always get that card. Eight of Swords.
Kathy
Griffin.
Hey.
Hey, Kathy. Kathy G will forever be seen as a D-lister. Not true. Due to her own self-imposed label. The Eight of Swords is tied and trapped amongst a maze of swords, but she placed herself at this disadvantage. Upright is self-imposed limitations. Reversal is victimization and entrapment. And 8 is internal strength ruled by strength. And swords are intellect and power. So I guess for 8 of
Right.
Swords, like artists need to
Remove self-imposed limitations.
Yeah, there we go.
right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. I mean, because I think that there are a lot of self-imposed, especially as trauma survivors. It feels like you're sometimes trapped in a world of PTSD, right?
Oh my
And
God, I'm trapped.
It's not
I'm trapped.
it's not self-imposed, but when you're dealing with the factors one by one, you start to feel like the path clears up, you know?
Yes.
And like you can just make different choices. It's I'd recommend therapy.
Right, therapy.
Recommending therapy.
God.
Talk to someone. Let it out,
Or that
girl.
pill from
Let
the
it
movie
out.
Limitless.
Yeah.
Like, can we please get that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the High Priestess. Jewel! Hello,
Yes, Jewel.
We love you, Jewel.
Save.
Yeah. Jewel will save your soul if you are willing to explore your spirit and trust your intuition. The High Priestess sits in stillness in the place between knowledge and spiritual wisdom, where all inner truths are discovered. Intuition, enlightenment, divination, and reversal is zealousness and distraction. 2s are decisions and duality. Okay, so yeah, if I'm willing to explore, I am willing to explore new female producers. Okay, I am on a journey. What's the movie where he's Dundee or Crocodile Dundee or
Oh, yeah.
finding the treasure?
Oh.
I'm whoever the fuck that person
Ryan.
was in all those movies trying to find the hidden treasure, you
Yeah.
guys. Like, because I'm still a fire-breathing dragon. I am
know.
still a savage. I don't want to be limited by my PTSD and by all of these penises.
Yeah.
I want to break free from this world, and I want to create my own world of unicorns and rainbows and sunshine and savagery for women and
Yeah.
feeling excited.
Sometimes you got to
again.
burn it all down with your dragon flames in order to
Yes.
build the new unicorn village, right?
Yeah, right now I'm looking at the ashes.
Yeah.
And the rise will come whenever it comes.
Yep.
So, damn.
Can't rush it.
So, you guys go on Spotify and follow Plasti right now.
You.
Go on her Instagram, go on her YouTube, go on her TikTok. Follow, follow,
Plasti
follow, follow,
music.
follow.
Yep.
Make sure you subscribe to this channel because I don't want to be homeless. So subscribe. I want to monetize. I want to get this show off the ground. I want all of my friends to rise up and be successful millionaires. We're speaking it into existence right now. And this is episode lucky number 7, so it's all going to happen.
Ching, ching, ching.
I love you so much.
Love you too.
And thank you for joining me on House of Royale. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for having me.